9:03. So good morning, everyone. My name is John Delaney, and I'm the Commission's designated presiding officer for this hearing. Today is December 19th, 2023, and it's approximately 9:03 a.m. And this is the date and time that is scheduled for the consolidated hearing in 4 dockets. I'm going to read them all into the record, so sit back. First, docket 23-057-19, application of Dominion Energy Utah to amortize the conservation enabling tariff balancing account. Second docket is docket number 23-057-20. That's the application of Dominion Energy Utah to amortize the energy efficiency deferred account balance. The third docket is docket 23-057-21, application of Dominion Energy Utah for an adjustment to the low income / energy assistance rate. And finally, the fourth docket is docket 23-057-22, application of Dominion Energy to change the infrastructure rate adjustment. Okay, unless anybody has any corrections to what I just stated on the record, why don't we start with appearances, and we will begin with the applicant.
Thank you so much. My name is Jennifer Clark. I'm counsel for Dominion Energy. I have with me today Jordan Stevenson. He will be speaking on behalf of the company to the first 3 dockets on our agenda today. And then I have Jesse Jackson also with me, and he will speak to the 4th docket.
Thank you very much. And for the division?
Good morning. Patrick Griecu for Assistant Attorney General representing the Division of Public Utilities. The division's witnesses this morning will be Ryan Daigle, who will be speaking for the 1st and 3rd dockets, and then Shauna Benvenu Springer will be covering the -20 docket, and Eric Orton will be covering the -22 docket.
Okay, great. Thank you. Eric must be, this Eric here on the screen must be Eric Orton. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. Thanks.
Okay, great. So all your witnesses are here. Dominion, all your witnesses are here. It's now 9:06 and we still, I don't see anybody from the Office of Consumer Services or Mr. Moore. Okay, so preliminary matters. Anybody have any? I have a couple.
None from the company.
Okay. So because of the compressed schedule that we're dealing with in these dockets, I want to make sure we haven't missed any filings. So the OCS office is not here, so I will not ask them the question I had for them. But I do have a question for Dominion. We don't have a record of any reply comments being filed by Dominion. Is that intentional and we have not missed something?
That's correct. That was intentional. You have not missed anything.
Okay. Okay, well then, unless anybody objects, and if so, I want to know why, but I'd like just to proceed in order. So beginning with the 19 docket and proceeding through to the end. I do note that the division did include, and I think it would be Mr. Daigle's testimony according to Mr. Griecu's representation, but I want to treat them separately. So we'll go in order and we'll begin with the 19 docket. And Ms. Clark, please call your first witness in the 19 docket.
Thank you. The company calls Mr. Stevenson.
Oh, there you are. Sorry. Good morning, Mr. Stevenson.
Good morning.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Please go ahead.
Thanks. Mr. Stevenson, will you please state your full name and business address for the record?
Yes, Jordan Stevenson, 333 South State, Salt Lake City, Utah.
And what position do you hold with the company, Mr. Stevenson?
I'm manager of regulation.
Mr. Stevenson, in this docket, the company has filed an application along with accompanying exhibits 1.1 through 1.5. Were those documents prepared by you or under your direction?
Yes.
And do you adopt their contents as your testimony today?
Yes.
The company moves to admit the application and accompanying exhibits 1.1 through 1.5.
Any objection from the division?
No objection.
Okay, motion granted.
Thank you. Mr. Stevenson, will you please summarize the relief the company is seeking today in this docket?
Yes, in this docket, the company is requesting to amortize the Conservation Enabling Tariff, or CET, balancing account. Section 2.08 of the company's tariff requires the company to file a CET amortization application at least annually with the Commission, and this filing meets that requirement. The company is requesting to amortize an over-collected balance of $23.3 million. If approved, this would result in a decrease of $17.92, or 1.85%, paid by a typical customer using 70 decatherms per year. The proposed rates are just and reasonable and in the public interest. Therefore, the company requests that the rates be approved, with rates going into effect on January 1st, 2024. And this concludes my summary.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. The company's witness is available for commission questions and cross-examination.
Thank you very much. For the division, any questions?
I just had one question. In recent years, the company has typically concurrently filed the pass-through 191 for the 191 balancing account with these types of applications, and especially in recent years. I was just wondering if you could explain why the company hasn't filed that pass-through 191 application yet.
Yeah, I can speak to it at a high level. I, in my current role, do not manage or supervise the pass-through account, but I can speak to it as I work with the people who do. It was not made in relation to that decision was not made in relation to anything we're talking about with the CET in this docket, but we plan to file the pass-through account by the end of the year. The reason we have not filed yet was just due to the high balance that we are still amortizing in that pass-through account. There's a large under-collected balance related to commodity costs that has been around since early this year, late last year, that happened in the winter season. We're working through amortizing that balance down, and so part of the decision to wait was in relation to that balance, as well as gas costs today, and whether or not we thought it was a prudent time to file. So that decision is made completely independent. You're right, we normally do couple these two filings together, and that's actually just out of kind of convenience and updating our billing system. It's not made because there's any need to file these two filings together from a rate-making standpoint or a tariff standpoint. So so that decision was made independently of the CET filing.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Okay, I don't have any questions for this witness. Thank you very much.
Company has nothing further in this docket.
Thank you. Let's turn to the division then.
Division calls Ryan Daigle.
Good morning, Mr. Daigle.
Good morning.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do.
Great, thank you. Please proceed.
Mr. Daigle, could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Ryan Daigle, RyanDaigle.
I need you to speak up, Mr. Daigle. You're hard to hear.
Can you hear me?
That's better.
Okay. It is Ryan Daigle, RyanDaigle.
And by whom are you employed, and what is your position?
The Division of Public Utilities, and I am a utility analyst.
And what is your business address?
160 East, 300 South, Salt Lake City, Utah, 84114.
And could you provide a brief overview of your educational background and relevant work experience?
I have approximately 10 years in oil and gas, with approximately 5 years of that being in regulatory work. And I have a bachelor's of science in mechanical engineering.
And have you participated in this docket on behalf of the division?
I have.
And regarding that participation, could you describe your activities?
I reviewed the Conservation Enabling Tariff and Low Income Assistance Program applications, as well as the accompanying exhibits to confirm adherence to established commission orders and to determine if the rates were just, reasonable, and in the public interest.
And did you prepare and cause to be filed or participate in the preparation and filing of the division's action request response filed on December 15th, 2023 in this docket?
Yes,
And do you have any changes or corrections to that filing?
I do not.
Do you adopt the contents of that filing as part of your testimony today?
I do.
And based on your review, would approval of this application be just, reasonable, and in the public interest?
Yes, I believe it would.
I'd like to move to admit the division's action request response filed on December 15th, 2023.
Any objections from Dominion?
No.
Okay, your motion's granted.
Thank you. Mr. Daigle, do you have a summary to share today?
I do.
Please proceed.
On December 1st, 2023, Dominion filed its application to amortize the Conservation Enabling Tariff Balancing Account, in this docket number 23-057-19. The Conservation Enabling Tariff is designed to allow Dominion to collect the commission-authorized revenue per customer. In its application, Dominion requests to amortize the October 2023 over-collected balance of approximately $23.3 million. Their previous filing, which was docket number 22-057-15, requested to amortize the under-collected amount of approximately $4.1 million. If approved, independent of the other concurrently filed applications, the typical GS residential customer using 70 decatherms per year will receive a reduction to their annual bill of $17.92 or 1.85%. The proposed change is in the public interest and represents just and reasonable rates. As it is not subject to a division audit, the division recommends the commission approve the requested rate change in docket 23-057-19 as a final rate with an effective date of January 1st, 2024. This concludes my summary.
The witness is now available for cross-examinations and hearing from or questions from the hearing officer. Excuse me.
Thank you. Dominion, any questions for this witness?
No questions, thanks.
Thank you. I do have a question for you, Mr. Daigle. In the division's comments, were you the author of those comments?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in those comments and on page 2, the comments specifically note that the overcollection was consistent, that it happened in 11 of 12 months.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The comments then offer some likely explanations as to why this occurred. And it also further notes that there have been some discussions between the division and Dominion, and that the division will continue to review and monitor both programs. And the programs noted in the comments are the Conservation Enabling Tariff and the Weather Normalization Program. Are you with me so far?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so how is DPU or how is the division planning on doing those two things? How is it going to review and monitor both programs, and how often? And I mean, give me some context and some color on that topic, please.
I would say through correspondence with the company, we will continue to monitor those programs within the first quarter of next year to make sure that the rates effectively bring that over collection down. I believe the company has also agreed to more closely scrutinize that account to make sure that those programs are functioning correctly.
Okay, and that belief is based on your conversations that are alluded to in the comments?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's the only question I have for this witness. Dominion, do you have any follow-up questions for this witness on the line of questioning I just raised?
No, thank you.
Okay, great. Then I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, why don't we move on to the next docket then? Was there anything else on the 19 docket?
No.
Okay, let's move on to the -20 docket. And that is 23-057-20. And Ms. Clark, if you'd like to call your first witness.
Thank you. The company once again calls Mr. Stevenson.
Mr. Stevenson, you're still under oath, but good morning again.
Good morning.
Mr. Stevenson, we all know who you are and who you work for and what you do. Let me ask this. In this second docket on the agenda today, 23-057-20, the company submitted an application along with accompanying exhibits 1.1 through 1.6. Were all of those documents prepared either by you or under your direction?
Yes.
And do you adopt their contents as your testimony today?
I do.
The company would move for the admission of the application in this matter along with its accompanying exhibits 1.1 through 1.6.
Thank you. Division, any objections to that motion?
No objection.
Okay, motion granted.
Thank you. Mr. Stevenson, will you please summarize the relief the company seeks in this second docket?
Yes. In this docket, the company seeks for approval to adjust the amortization rate of the energy efficiency deferred account balance. As of September 30th of 2023, the deferred account balance amounted to an over-collected balance of $2,482,566. With this adjustment to the rate, based on forecasted 2024 budgeted expenditures and projected volumes for the 2024 test period, the company will collect the necessary revenue to support the energy efficiency program while minimizing interest expense for customers and the company. If approved, this would result in a decrease of $3.09 per year, or 0.32% paid by a typical customer using 70 decatherms per year. The proposed rates are just and reasonable and in the public interest, and the company requests that the rates be approved on an interim basis, with rates going into effect on January 1st, 2024. And this concludes my summary.
Mr. Stevenson is available for cross-examination and also any questions from the hearing officer.
Thank you very much. Mr. Greeq, any questions for the division on this witness?
Division has no questions.
Okay, I have no questions either.
Thank you. The company has nothing further.
Thank you very much. For the division, please call your witness on this docket.
Division would like to call Shauna Bavagnu Springer.
Good morning, Ms. Springer. Do you swear to tell the truth today? I think you might be muted.
Good morning.
Hi.
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do swear to tell the truth. Great, thank you. I'm glad you're joining us via audio. Please go ahead.
Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Shauna Benvenu Springer, Shauna BENVEGNU dash Springer, SPRINGER.
And by whom are you employed and what is your position?
I am employed by the Utah Division of Public Utilities as a utility technical consultant.
And what is your business address?
Heber Wells Building, 4th floor, 160 East, 300 South, Salt Lake City, Utah, 84114.
And could you provide a brief overview of your educational background and relevant work experience?
I have a Bachelor of Science degree in management and a Bachelor of Science in accounting. I also have 30 years in government administration and accounting, plus 16 years of utility regulation.
And have you participated in this docket on behalf of the division?
Yes, I have.
And regarding your participation in this docket, could you briefly describe your activities?
I have reviewed the application that was submitted by the company, made comparisons to previous applications, have delved into the various components of the application, such as the balances and expenditures and the revenue. Done some analysis on various rates to see what would be the most optimized rate for the program in order to meet the objective of collecting enough funds to cover the expenses and minimizing the amount of interest.
And did you prepare and cause to be filed or participate in the preparation and filing of the division's action request response filed on December 15th, 2023 in this docket?
Yes, I have.
And do you have any changes or corrections to that filing?
No, I do not.
Do you adopt the contents of that filing as part of your testimony today?
Yes, I do.
And based on your review, would approval of this application on an interim basis be just, reasonable, and in the public interest?
Yes, it will.
I'd like to move to admit the division's action request response filed on December 15th, 2023.
Thank you very much. Dominion, any objections to that motion?
No.
Okay, the motion is granted.
Thank you. Do you have a summary to share today?
I do. On
proceed.
December 1st, Dominion Energy filed its application to amortize the energy efficiency deferred account balance to decrease the energy efficiency rate and have the new rates effective of January 1st, 2024. The current financial position of the energy efficiency program shows a negative balance of approximately $2.5 million, resulting from an overcollection from ratepayers. The objective is to calculate a new rate which collects enough funds to cover the expenses of the energy efficiency programs and marketing transformation initiative while minimizing the amount of interest income collected or paid by the company. The account balance fluctuates above or below $0 of net interest income during the year within an intended net interest close to zero. The company provided two rate analysis scenarios. Scenario A, a rate with no change, and scenario B, a rate that decreases to 0.15907. The division conducted a third analysis, scenario C, at a rate of 0.18000. That was in the middle. Scenario A and C result in both overcollecting and paying interest income. As proposed by Dominion, scenario B should be the new proposed rate because overcollecting and undercollecting will be balanced throughout the year. The proposed rate decrease would minimize the net interest amount from the period of January 1, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. Based on the projected balances, the new proposed rate will help meet the financial goals of the energy efficiency programs. the energy efficiency amortization rate from 0.2321 to 0.15907 per decatherm, or a decrease of 0.04414 per decatherms, will equate to a typical residential customer using 70 decatherms a year, seeing $3.09 decrease in their annual bill, or 30.32% decrease, independent of any other decreases that the company may, increases or decreases the company may provide to their rate. The division supports the division's request to amortize the energy efficiency deferred account balance and decrease the rate, and recommends the commission approve the application on an interim basis until the division completes a more thorough review and audit of the program's initiative. There are 8 programs and 1 market initiative that need to be reviewed in depth. Final recommendations will be provided at a later date. Based on the division's initial review, the proposed rate is in the public interest and represents a just and reasonable rate for Utah. Hold on just a minute. And its customers. The division will continue to monitor the overall program and individual measures. I would like to add that we do that through not only quarterly reports that the company submits, but also through an advisory board that the company holds meetings with on a consistent basis to determine efficiencies and improvements that they may need to consider. This concludes my summary. Thank you.
The witness is now available for cross-examination and questions from the hearing officer.
Thank you very much. Dominion, any questions for this witness?
We have no questions. Thanks.
Okay. I do have one question. Ms. Benvenue Springer, in the division's comments, were you the author of those comments?
I was.
Okay, so thank you. On page 2, in the first bullet point, the comment says that exhibits 1.1 and 1.2 purport, P-U-R-P-O-R-T, to meet the requirements of a previous commission order. And the use of the word purport caught my attention. And so, got to ask you, was there an issue or a problem with the exhibits 1.1 and 1.2?
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah, I was just curious because the word purport suggests that, there may be some dispute about whether or not they actually do what they're supposed to do. And so, as the author of those comments and your use of the word purport, your testimony is you didn't have a problem or an issue with what's represented in exhibits 1.1 and 1.2 in Dominion's application?
Correct.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's the only question I had.
Okay.
Anything further on this docket from anybody then?
Nothing
None from
further
the
from the
company.
division.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Why don't we, thank you for your testimony. Well, let's move to the next docket, which is 23-057-21. And Dominion, please proceed.
Thank you so much. We once again, and for the final time today, call Mr. Stevenson.
Please go ahead, Mr. Stevenson. You're still under oath.
Mr. Stevenson, in this docket, the third on our agenda today, the company filed an application with accompanying exhibits 1.1 through 1.5. Were those documents also prepared by you or under your direction?
Yes, they were.
And do you adopt the contents of those documents as your testimony today?
I do.
The company would move for the admission of the application in docket 23-057-21, along with the accompanying exhibits 1.1 through 1.5.
Thank you very much. Mr. Grecu, any objection?
No objection.
Okay, the motion is granted.
Thank you so much. Mr. Stevenson, can you please summarize the relief that the company is seeking in this docket?
Yes, in this docket, the company requests an adjustment to the Energy Assistance Fund rate. This will result in an annual decrease of 12 cents for a typical customer per year and allow the program to maintain the funding level of $1.5 million per year. The company is also proposing to adjust the current annual energy assistance credit to $91 per qualifying customer per year. This credit is based on an ongoing annual participation level of 22,499 participants. In addition, the company proposes a contribution of $250,000 to the Utah Department of Workforce Services, Housing and Community Development Weatherization Assistance Program over the next 12 months. Depending on how actual participation shakes out over the coming months, the company will fine-tune these amounts and propose adjusting accordingly in its next filing that covers this program. The proposed rates are just, reasonable, and in the public interest. Therefore, the company requests that the rates be approved with rates going into effect on January 1st, 2024, and this concludes my summary.
Mr. Stevenson is now available for cross-examination and any questions the hearing officer may have.
Thank you very much. Mr. Greekue, any questions of this witness for the division?
No questions from the division.
Okay, and I have no questions for this witness either. Thank you.
Thank you. The company has nothing further on this docket.
Thank you, Mr. Greekue. For the division?
The division would like to call Ryan Daigle again.
Hello again, Mr. Daigle. You two are still under oath, so go for it.
Thank you. On December 1st, 2023, Dominion filed its application for an adjustment to the low-income energy assistance rate, in this docket number 23-057-21. The Low-Income Energy Assistance Program provides an annual credit for enrolled low-income customers. In this docket, Dominion requests a rate change to credit the $105,332 of overcollection in excess of the target funding amount of $1.5 million. The company estimates that approximately 22,499 HEAT-qualified customers will apply for the credit, as not all customers qualify for this credit, and requests to provide a credit of $91 per eligible customer. If approved, independent of the other concurrently filed applications, the typical GS residential customer using 70 decatherms per year will receive a reduction to their annual bill of 12 cents. The $250,000 contribution to DWS for the weatherization program is similar to the contribution of previous filings. The proposed change is in the public interest and represents just and reasonable rates. Because it is not subject to a division audit, the division recommends the Commission approve the requested rate change in this docket for the Low-Income Energy Assistance Program as a final rate with an effective date of January 1st, 2024. This concludes my summary.
Mr. Daigle, just to clarify, have you participated in this docket on behalf of the division?
I did.
And did you prepare and cause to be filed or participate in the preparation and filing of the division's action request response filed on December 15th, 2023?
Yes, I did.
And do you adopt the contents of that filing as part of your testimony today?
I do.
And based on your review, would approval of this application be just, reasonable, and in the public interest?
It would.
At this point, I'd like to move to amend the division's action request response filed December 15th, 2023.
Thank you. Dominion, any objections to the motion?
No objection.
And I'll grant the motion and also apologize for directing the witness to begin before you did what you wanted to do, Mr. Greekue. Motion's granted.
No problem. Thank you. I think that is it for this docket. The witness is available for cross-examination and questions from the hearing officer.
For Dominion, any questions of this witness?
No questions. Thanks.
Thank you. And Mr. Daigle, I have no questions for you either. Thanks for participating today.
Thank you very much.
Anything else on the -21 docket?
Nothing further
Nothing from
from
the
the
company.
division.
Excuse me. Okay, why don't we go to the last docket in this consolidated hearing, and that's docket number 23-057-22. Dominion, please call your first witness.
Thank you. The company will call Jesse Jackson.
Good morning, Mr. Jackson.
Good morning.
Do you swear to tell the truth today?
I do.
Thank you very much. You're sworn.
Mr. Jackson, would you please state your full name and business address for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Jesse Jackson. My business address is 333 South State Street, Salt Lake City, Utah.
And what position do you hold with the company, Mr. Jackson?
I am a regulatory specialist.
In this final docket on the agenda today, Mr. Jackson, the company has filed an application along with accompanying exhibits 1.1 through 1.6. Did you prepare those documents, or were they prepared under your direction?
Yes.
And do you adopt the contents of those documents as your testimony today?
Yes.
The company would move for the admission of the application and accompanying exhibits 1.1 through 1.6.
Thank you very much. Mr. Grieco, any objection to that motion?
No objection.
Okay, the motion's granted.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson, can you please summarize the relief that the company seeks in this docket?
Yes. In this docket, the company seeks to adjust the infrastructure tracker replacement rate to include investment related to replacement projects that were in service as of November 30th, 2023. In the last general rate case in docket number 22-057-03, the commission ordered the...
Can I get you to speak up, please?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Apologize. So in the last general rate case in docket number 22-057-03, the commission ordered the tracker investment amount to be reset to $0 and also required the company to accumulate $84.7 million in investment on or after January 1st, 2022, before requesting an infrastructure tracker filing and rate increase again. As of November 30th, 2023, the company has reached and surpassed that threshold, and the company is requesting $2.1 million in annual revenue related to this investment. If approved, this would result in an increase of $1.21 per year, or 0.13%, paid by a typical customer using 70 decatherms per year. The proposed rates are just, reasonable, and in the public interest. Therefore, the company requests that the rates be approved on an interim basis with an effective date of January 1st, 2024. And this concludes my summary.
Mr. Jackson is now available for cross-examination and questions from the hearing officer.
Thank you very much. Mr. Grieco, any questions of this witness for the division?
No questions from the division.
Okay, and Mr. Jackson, I have no questions for you. Thank you.
Thanks.
The company has nothing further on this final docket.
Thank you very much. To the division.
Division calls Eric Orton.
I was afraid you were going to say that because I don't see Mr. Orton any longer on the screen.
Oh, I see everyone.
Oh, there you are. I'm sorry. I didn't see, I wasn't hovering, so I didn't see your name. I apologize. Good
My
morning.
feelings aren't hurt. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Orton.
Good morning.
Do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Orton, could you please state and spell your name for the record?
My name is Eric Orton. That's ERICORTON.
By whom are you employed and what is your position?
I'm employed by the Utah Division of Public Utilities. I'm a utility technical consultant.
And what is your business address?
160 East, 300 South in Salt Lake City. I'm in the Heber Wells building.
Could you provide a brief overview of your educational background and relevant work experience?
Sure. I have a master's degree in business administration. I've been in utility regulation for the state for over 25 years.
And have you participated in this docket on behalf of the division?
I did.
And regarding your participation in this docket, could you describe your activities?
Sure. I reviewed the application as well as filed accompanying exhibits, compared that to the filing requirements in the appropriate section of the tariff. And I also referenced past year filings, did my analysis, and composed the comments.
And did you prepare and cause to be filed or participate in the preparation and filing of the division's action request response filed on December 15th, 2023 in this docket?
I did.
And do you have any changes or corrections to that filing?
I do have one correction. In the section entitled Issues, the last sentence of that first paragraph, which is on the second page, the first line of the second page, it says 2023. It should read 2024.
And with that correction, do you adopt the contents of that filing as part of your testimony today?
I do.
And based on your review, would approval of this application on an interim basis be just, reasonable, and in the public interest?
It would.
With that noted correction, I'd like to move to admit the division's action request response filed December 15th, 2023.
Dominion, any objections to that motion?
No objection.
Thank you very much. Motion is granted.
Mr. Orton, do you have a summary to share today?
I do. Thank you. Based on our preliminary review of the application, the division recommends the commission approve the proposed rates in this infrastructure rate adjustment filing as requested by Dominion on an interim basis with an effective date of January 1, 2024. The purpose of this filing is for Dominion to seek to modify the infrastructure rate adjustment tracker to the distribution non-gas cost portion of its Utah natural gas rate schedules, pursuant to Section 2.07 of its tariff. The current proposal represents a revenue requirement increase of $2.121 million. If approved, a typical GS customer would see an annual increase of $1.21 or 0.13%. This application complies with past commission orders. The division recommends the commission approve the proposed rates on an interim basis until the division can complete its audit review, at which time it will make a final recommendation to the commission to include any prudently incurred costs in the infrastructure rate adjustment tracker and general rates as part of the next general rate case. If all four dockets addressed in this hearing today are approved, the typical GS customer using 70 decatherms per year would see a decrease of $19.92 a year, or 2.06%. That concludes my comment. Thank you.
The witness is available for cross-examination and questions from the hearing officer.
Thank you. Any questions of this witness by Dominion?
No, Dominion has no questions.
Okay, and Mr. Olson, I don't have any questions for you either. Thank you for appearing today.
Thank you.
Anything else with respect to the -22 docket?
Nothing from the company.
Nothing from the division.
Okay, then I believe that's it. We've run through all four dockets, and we're mindful of the requested effective date of January 1, 2024, and we will issue appropriate orders in due course. If there's nothing else, we will be adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays.